Okay, today's topic is for any pursuer of God out there who has a job or someday might have a job. It's from Colossians chapter 3, verses 22 all the way to 4:1. And it's all about how not to hate your job. He's going to say, Paul, that is, he's going to say two things to employees and one thing to bosses. He's going to say to employees, don't slack off and work for the boss, the real boss. Remember that Jesus is your boss, God is your boss, not your boss. And then to bosses, basically, he's going to say, be nice. Don't make your employees hate their job. So to the text, verse 22, he says, slaves, obey your masters in everything you do. Try to please them all the time, not just when they're watching you. Now, I know you think of slaves and you're not a slave, but in essence, this is a message to modern day workers, and the principles very much apply. He says, serve them sincerely because of your reverent fear for the Lord. Work willingly at whatever you do as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. So look, don't just do the minimum. Don't slack off. Give it everything you've got. And then later he says, remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward and that the master that you're serving is Christ. In other words, your real boss, the big boss, is Jesus. Even if you hate your boss, then work for Jesus. Remember, it's not just the money you make, it's your inheritance. God is watching you. So remember that. Now, bosses, chapter 4, verse 1, he speaks to you. He says, masters, be just and fair to your slaves. Remember that you also have a master in heaven. So in essence, what Paul is saying, he speaks, yes, to slaves, to workers, to employees, but he also speaks to bosses. He says, if you're a follower of Jesus, you should be just and fair. Don't make them hate their job, or you'll both end up hating your jobs, right? So there's your instructions from Colossians. 2,000 years ago, Paul wrote these things to the Christians at Colossae, and look, they still apply to us today. If you have a job and you don't want to hate it, pay attention to what Paul says in this passage.